What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the MMA Zone. Today, we're diving into Dana White's response to Justin Gaethje's comments. Yesterday, we reported on Gaethje speaking out about how fighter pay didn't increase after the Paramount deal, and a lot has happened since then. But before we dive in, don't forget to hit that like button to help support the channel. After Gaethje went public with his comments on fighter pay, Dana White responded during an interview on the Pat McAfee show. According to Dana, the issue was that Gaethje and his team never returned the UFC's calls. Here's what Dana had to say. Dana White's response to Justin Gaethje's comments about fighter pay is a moment full of tension and controversy. Gaethje had publicly claimed that the UFC fighters' salaries didn't see an increase after the Paramount deal, which sparked a lot of attention within the MMA community. However, Dana White wasn't quick to let the comment slide. During an appearance on the Pat McAfee show, Dana White addressed the issue directly. He explained that Gaethje and his team had been offered a better pay deal, but the UFC never received a response. According to Dana, they worked with experts to fine-tune the pay structure and even figured out how close they could get to offering fighters pay-per-view style earnings. He also mentioned that Gaethje's management never followed up on the deal. White's response was bold. He flat out accused Gaethje of not even picking up the phone. This raised eyebrows in the MMA world because it's rare for Dana to openly criticize a fighter's management team. It's an interesting twist in the ongoing conversation about fighter pay, one that makes you wonder whether there's more to the story than we're being told. But even more intriguing was Ariel Helwani's reaction to White's statement, which added more fuel to the fire. Helwani pointed out that Dana's claim that Gaethje was offered more money but failed to respond doesn't make sense. Was there a breakdown in communication, or was something else at play here? Regardless of what the truth is, this was an exchange that had fans talking about the dynamics of UFC fighter pay on a whole new level. Ariel Helwani, a respected MMA journalist, wasn't buying Dana White's version of events. When Dana White made his claim that Gaethje's team had been offered more money and simply never responded, Helwani was quick to call out the UFC president's statement. According to Helwani, it's hard to believe that a headline fighter like Gaethje would just ignore a substantial pay increase, especially when that fighter has a strong voice in the MMA community. Helwani emphasized that Dana White was directly accusing Gaethje of not negotiating properly, without offering any evidence to support his claim. For many fans, this was a pivotal moment in the ongoing narrative about fighter pay in the UFC. If White's story is true, then it could mean that Gaethje's team made a massive blunder, potentially costing him a better deal. However, Helwani seemed skeptical. He raised questions about why Gaethje would ignore such a lucrative offer. For someone like Gaethje, who is both a fan favorite and a fighter with immense bargaining power, it just didn't add up. Moreover, Helwani went a step further by suggesting that the UFC could have been handling the situation better. If they were truly offering more money, why didn't they try harder to reach Gaethje or his management? This left many fans and analysts wondering whether there was more to the situation than just a simple misunderstanding or miscommunication. Helwani's probing analysis only deepened the mystery surrounding Gaethje's comments and Dana White's response.
In a bizarre twist, things took another unexpected turn when Ali Alquinta, a fellow UFC fighter, posted a screenshot of a text conversation he claimed to have had with Justin Gaethje. The conversation seemed to reveal that Alquinta had been pushing Gaethje to negotiate with the UFC for a better deal. In the text exchange, Alquinta emphasized that the UFC needed Gaethje to headline a card and that he wanted $150,000 for the fight, plus $50,000 to win. This wasn't a small ask, it was a clear demand for better pay and recognition. The back and forth between the two fighters was intense. Alquinta seemed to be trying to get Gaethje to stand firm in his negotiations, suggesting that by working together, they could both secure better contracts from the UFC. Gaethje, however, appeared more focused on doing things his own way. His responses seemed to indicate that he was content with his current deal and that his manager should handle the negotiations on his behalf. At one point, Alquinta even suggested that Gaethje tell the UFC he would only fight him, a move that would force the organization to meet their demands. Despite the back and forth, it was clear that Alquinta was trying to show Gaethje the importance of standing up for fair pay, but Gaethje remained nonchalant. This exchange raised questions about how fighters communicate during contract negotiations and whether they are truly working together to improve their financial standing in the UFC. Given the current climate around fighter pay, this text conversation highlighted the divide between fighters and their relationship with the UFC.
The conflict over fighter pay wasn't limited to Dana White and Justin Gaethje. In an unexpected move, Gaethje confronted UFC legend Daniel Cormier after Cormier publicly stated that all UFC fighters had seen their pay go up following the Paramount deal. Gaethje wasn't having any of it. During an interview, he took issue with Cormier's statement, accusing him of lying to the public by claiming that all fighters were being compensated better. Gaethje was direct, calling out Cormier for spreading misinformation about the pay raises, which had been a point of contention for fighters in the UFC for years. Cormier, however, denied ever claiming that everyone had seen an increase, but Gaethje didn't back down. He fired back, insisting that Cormier's comments were misleading and made fighters look bad. This back and forth between two prominent figures in the MMA world created a major stir, especially considering Cormier's status as a respected commentator and former champion. It seemed that Gaethje wasn't just upset with the UFC's pay structure, he was frustrated with how others were portraying the situation in the media. This confrontation brought to light just how tense the atmosphere around fighter pay has become, with both fighters and analysts in the industry pushing back against the idea that things are improving when they clearly aren't.
Sean Strickland and Chris Curtis's friendship hit a major snag when Strickland invited Kyle Rittenhouse, a controversial figure, to the Extreme Couture gym. Curtis, who has made it clear that he disagrees with Rittenhouse's actions and views, was visibly upset by Strickland's decision. The argument between them quickly escalated, with Curtis asking Strickland why he would invite someone like Rittenhouse to their gym. Strickland tried to downplay the situation, claiming that Rittenhouse was innocent, but Curtis was having none of it. The situation was awkward as the two friends went back and forth, with Curtis making it clear that he felt disrespected in his own gym. The argument also highlighted the political divide that has affected the MMA community, with Strickland defending his actions and Curtis showing his disapproval. As their conversation continued, the tension was palpable. Strickland eventually took to social media to address the situation, posting a message that tried to explain his stance. However, his comments only seemed to escalate the situation further. The entire exchange revealed how deeply personal and political differences can affect even the tightest of friendships, especially in a high-stakes environment like MMA. Curtis later expressed his frustration, while Strickland downplayed the incident, trying to move on from the drama. But the entire ordeal served as a reminder of how controversial figures can stir up tension, not just with the public, but even with close friends within the MMA community. Robert Whittaker has been a fixture in the UFC middleweight division for years, but recent comments indicate that he might be seriously considering a move to light heavyweight. In a recent interview, Whittaker stated that he had been thinking about the move, especially after seeing fellow fighter Paulo Costa's successful transition to 205 pounds. Whittaker noted that he has always struggled with the weight cut to 185 pounds, even though he's considered one of the best middleweights in the world. With fighters like Costa making the leap to light heavyweight, Whittaker is now seriously contemplating whether it's time for him to make the jump himself. His comments reflect a growing trend in MMA, where fighters are moving up in weight classes to take on new challenges and potentially avoid grueling weight cuts. For Whittaker, who has been at the top of the middleweight division for years, moving to light heavyweight could be a game changer. Many fans are now wondering if he'll make the move and how he'll fare against the top contenders in the 205-pound division. His decision could have significant implications, not only for his career, but for the future of the division itself. Dana White recently confirmed that the much-anticipated fight between Conor McGregor and Michael Chandler is no longer on the table. White addressed the situation during an appearance on the Pat McAfee show, revealing that the UFC had moved on from the fight. Although McGregor